Hello and welcome everyone to this BrowserStack webinar. I'm glad all of you could join. Awesome. Um, I hope all of you can hear me loud and clear, and you can also see my screen, my video. If you're having any problems, you can use the chat option that you have on your Zoom screens, and our team will try to help you. Again, thank you everybody for making time for this webinar. We are glad you could join this session. Our goal today is going to be to make the best use of your time and try to cover this topic of automating website monitoring with AI. We have had a lot of interest from people around how BrowserStack is working on AI. What kind of solutions are we building for teams, QA teams, quality teams, for different assets that we have. This webinar, again, the focus is on websites. So a lot of companies have websites that have 50 pages, 100 pages, up to tens of thousands of pages. How do you monitor all of them with ease? If, let's say, you don't want to go into very deep into automation, test automation, we'll try to cover all of that and sort of also walk you through how we are applying AI to this problem. Uh, just to get us started, a few housekeeping items. Today's session will run for 60 minutes. All participants will be muted, and there will be a dedicated 15 minutes Q&A at the end. You can keep your questions coming though. You'll see a Q&A option on your screen. You can use that option, start putting your questions in as we present, as we show you demos, etc. Keep your questions coming. Our team is on standby. They'll try to address some of the questions in real time on chat. Otherwise, we'll spend 15-20 minutes at the end where we'll answer all the questions live. The session is being recorded. The recordings will be shared with you maybe 24 to 48 hours after the session. Moving on, the agenda today is going to be around website monitoring. So we'll first cover website operations at BrowserStack. How do we handle our website? We have a website that has over 10,000 pages. So how do we manage that? Issues beyond functionality. A lot of teams do check for functionality, but we have seen a lot of other issues pop up as your website scales. We'll try to cover those. What kind of issues are those? How do we deal with them? We'll try to cover how automation is not always worth the effort. Even if your team is capable of writing automated scripts, uh, it's not always worth the effort. You don't always want to put in that time there, and your time could be better used somewhere else. So, in that scenario, how do you still cover those pages, right? What are the other solutions that are available? We'll talk about continuous monitoring, how you can set up continuous monitoring for your entire website and how that could work out. We'll also walk you through a demo of something that we've been building around this problem. It's a product called Website Scanner. We'll introduce that. We'll try to talk to you about that. What is our vision around that product? What do we have today? How can you test it? How for your websites? We'll talk about all of that. And then, like I said, we'll spend the last 15 minutes on question and answers. Just to introduce us, I am Shantanu. I'm part of the product growth team here at BrowserStack. I am working on a bunch of our new products, some of our AI products. Website Scanner is one of the products that I've been working on. My background generally has been in marketing. I've worked at technology organizations of different sizes. We also have Vivek with us. Vivek, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. So my name is Vivek, and I started at BrowserStack, and I was the product manager for the BrowserStack website for some time. And currently, I'm the product manager for the website scanner product that we're going to talk about today.
Right. So I think just to add to that, the reason we have Vivek is that he's the best person to describe the website operations at BrowserStack, and since he has managed that for quite some time. Moving on, I think Vivek, let's maybe start there. Like, let's set that context for the audience first. What is the BrowserStack website? How have we evolved? What is our process like? Maybe you can just give a quick glimpse of that to all of us.
Sure. So our BrowserStack website is pretty large. So we have around thousands of pages, and we have millions of monthly visits. And we work with a distributed team of developers, marketers, designers, and we are constantly shipping updates. So hundreds of pages are getting updated every day, right? So to maintain quality at this scale, we follow like a very structured dev and QA process. Um, So the generally the development team, they get the requirements from marketing or product. The requirements would be to create a new component or to publish a new page. Okay. So the development team then works on that. They create that component. Once that is done, it goes through a rigorous QA process. All the layouts, if a component is updated, we check all the layouts are working fine. And if a content is updated, we will check like a page is working fine. And then it is published to production. So that is our current process.
I think just to add a little more flavor to that complexity, right? As some of you might be aware, BrowserStack has now evolved into a multi-product company. So we have multiple products. How we operate is that each of these products has a product squad that's working on it. So they ship their own updates regularly. There is no like we don't do once in a week kind of updates. That all updates will be pushed to production once in a week. It's real time. Every day some or the other update is going on some or the other product, and these teams are not aware of each other's work, so it's very async, very parallel. And like Vivek said, that sort of adds a lot of complexity to our process right now. So uh, I think, Vivek, while you were managing the team, and maybe you have, since you have some context of that team right now as well, uh, what is the quality process like there? Do we have automation for all these 10,000 pages, or do we do manual tests on these pages? What's our process like?
Sure. So we do have like a mix of both automation as well as manual testing. And we also check for functional and non-functional features as well, right? So for the core pages like the home page, the pricing page, the checkout flow, for all those things where there is a lot of user interaction that is happening. So we have like full functional automation for those pages. And for rest of the static pages, you could talk about like blogs or like the product landing pages or the documentation pages. We have a mix of that. We have some pages which are automated, and mainly we rely on manual testing. At least we used to rely on manual testing for these pages before the website scanner, right? And we used to test for functionality, and also we used to have like regular accessibility audits, and we used to regularly test for SEO and performance issues, right? Um, the, then the functional issues like are there any broken links? Is the content correct? Is the layout looking fine on all different screen sizes, like your mobiles, tablets, or widescreen monitors? We used to do a lot of that manually.
Maybe let's spend some time here, right? So, how do have you seen, as you were building Scanner and also our team internally, right? Do most teams have this split, or are most teams doing manual? What's that mix like?
Yeah, generally we see like a very large spectrum, right? So we see teams that have like a large part of their flows automated. We see teams that are completely relying on manual testing, and we even see some teams that are relying on developers for testing these pages. But as your website scales, right, it becomes very difficult to like get a hold of these issues. So for functional tests, maybe you can test manually, but a lot of these non-functional issues, it becomes really difficult to test.
Got it. And maybe shed some light, right? What are these issues that you're talking about? Like beyond my functional test, what else should I care about, or what else have you seen people care about for their websites?
Right. So beyond functional, right? For again, like to start with, website QA is very, very important, and it directly impacts your brand perception, right? So any small non-functional issue, like let's say a button is not working, or a layout is broken on mobile, text is overflowing, or like two components are overlapping, or a page is slow to load, right? Any of these issues, any of these non-functional issues, right? This can directly impact your SEOs. They can impact your conversions, and at the end of the day, this will directly impact your brand perception. And if a customer sees one of these issues and they have a bad experience, right? It is very, very highly unlikely that they're going to come back to your website. So you lose a customer there.
Right. I think we've also seen one of the things that we've heard from a lot of teams is that, again, they're spending a lot of money to get customers to their websites. And at that point, if something is broken on the website, and so that's the whole investment of getting that customer there is lost. Because the customer, like Vivek was mentioning, does not return to your website again. You'll again have to retarget them, spend money, get them back on your website, get them in your journey. So it's a lot of effort, it's a lot of cost, right? Uh, I think one question, right, Vivek, is around automation. You said we have a mix of automation, and then earlier we had manual tests. Now we are building a solution for this. Teams also use a mix, right? Why not automate everything? Just they have the capability to automate. They have SDETs in their teams. Some people do, some people don't. But why not just go ahead and automate everything?
Right. So it sounds like a very simple solution that why don't we go ahead and automate everything? But in reality, it's not that simple. So a lot of these tools, they require the automation tools, right? They require custom setup, and there is a lot of coding effort and ongoing maintenance that is going on, right? And when you have like a very set of pages, right? For let's say for your static pages where there is a very limited functionality, automation does not make sense. Like putting that much of effort to test for a static page, that seems like an overkill. So teams might not have the bandwidth or the resources to um, automate your entire website. For example, in our case, we have thousands of static pages, right? We cannot practically go and invest so many resources to automate all those static pages.
So what's the split like usually, like for websites? For example, for BrowserStack, in the previous one of the previous slides, right? You were talking about how we just have roughly 50 to 100 core pages where we have automation for both functional and non-functional tests, and then over 9,000 pages, more than 90% of our pages are just static where we do manual tests or right, we run some scans. So what's this mix like for most teams? Are most pages static for companies websites is specifically what I'm talking about?
Right. Yeah. So generally, you have a mix of these like pages that would need user interaction, like your pricing page, that people would want to add something to cart and then enter their payment details and check out. But as your website grows, right, these pages are not going to grow. Like your checkout page or pricing page are going to remain the same. But your blogs or your guide pages or your marketing pages or your documentation pages, as these are going to grow in number. And as websites reach scale, that is what it will look like for most of the customers, right? They would have like 90% of the pages which are static, and then there are like 10% of the core pages where there's a lot of user interaction that is going on.
Got it. Okay. Right. I think moving on, Vivek, the product that you've been building to solve this problem, right? Maybe you can introduce us to that. What does it mean? What is it? And also, the title of the session is monitoring with AI, website monitoring with AI, right? So, where is the AI? Maybe you can also talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So exactly to address this problem that we've been talking about, right? Your website can have like a lot of static pages, and um, you need to make sure that a lot of functional tests are happening to make sure that the customer's experience is good, right? To make that scalable, we have built the website scanner. So it's a new no-code tool that scans your entire website. And it will tell you issues like if you have any broken links or broken buttons. It will tell you if your website has any visual regressions, if your website is working fine in all different screen sizes, if it has any accessibility gaps, and also if all the pages of your website are loading fast or not, right? So it does all of these checks in one go, and it will give you like a comprehensive report. And to do this, um, there is no setup needed. You just have to enter a URL and hit scan, right? So with very less effort, you are able to get automation level coverage, and you could cover your entire website without worrying about spending too much time on automation, right? So, and coming to your second question regarding AI agents that we are using in Website Scanner, right? We have three currently, and we are working on more as we talk. The first agent that we have is the accessibility issue detection agent. A lot of the accessibility issues, right? They would need you to interact with your website like a human does. So many issues were not being able to be caught by rule engines. So we are able to cover those issues as well. Previously, which needed like manual tests. Now we are able to cover a lot of those issues as well with AI. And the second agent we have is the accessibility remediation agent. So it will automatically identify the root cause of your accessibility issues, and it will also suggest on how you can solve that particular accessibility issue. And the final agent that we have is a visual review agent. One of the biggest issues that we were seeing with visual regression testing was false positives. So let's say when you load a page multiple times, maybe the page shifted by a single pixel because of a browser thing or any minor change, right? Which you might not want to be bothered, right? So these kinds of false positives, which doesn't really require your time, we automatically detect them and we flag them as false positives. So you spend your time on actual visual issues, right? So these are the three agents that we have as of now. And also coming to the scale that we have for website scanner, right? So this can be used for all different types of websites. We have customers from all these multiple domains that you can see on the screen. And we have customers that are also testing hundreds of thousands of pages using website scanner. So this is completely scalable. So it can be used from a very small website to like a website that has thousands of pages.
Got it. Awesome. I think since I've also been working with you, Vivek, on this, I maybe want to jump two slides back to a point that was highlighted, right? On the 20 checks coming soon, right? So I think for the audience, where this whole thing started was we saw a lot of scanners that are available for marketing teams, right? You have the Ahrefs of the world, you have the SEMrushers of the world. What we realized quickly is that there is nothing for quality teams, right? And they are still, their processes are still very manual. So our vision here is that this should be that one standard tool for quality governance on every website in the world. We want all kinds of checks that quality teams care about on this one scanner. You run one scan, you should be able to check for 20, 50 things in one report. And that is sort of your sort of holy grail for any quality issues on your website. And maybe as Vivek will also show us, it's you don't have to scan these manually. You can run these scans, you can schedule these scans. They'll continue to monitor your websites and call out the issues regularly, so that everybody in your organization knows what are the problems with the website, what quality team is working on right now, what is prioritized in the next sprint, and so on. Right, this becomes your one quality governance tool for your websites. Full for all of us is if you could show us the solution, how this works. What are you thinking, and what's our roadmap like? How are we? What else are we planning to add here, right, to make the lives of QAs easier? Yeah, over to you. Maybe you can.
Sure, yeah. Let me share my screen and we can start with a demo of the product. So what you're seeing currently is a dashboard of the website scanner. So as you can see, there are like a lot of scans that have happened. And for each scan, if I go, for example, for this website, if I want to see how the quality of this website looks like, I get a very quick snapshot of different types of issues this website has. I can see like this has a few accessibility issues. There were a few visual changes, but they're already approved. I can see that it has a few broken components, which are broken CTS and broken links. And I can see at least one page which is not performing very well. And I can see there are like few snapshots which are taken in like different screen resolutions and they have been approved, right? So I get like a very quick snapshot of how my website quality is looking like. And these are the checks that we have currently. And immediately, very recently, we are going to launch two more checks. One is we're going to help you check for your content of your website, which is basically spelling and grammar of your website, that it doesn't have any spelling or grammar mistakes. And the next scanner is the form scanner, where you can check if all the different forms in a website may it be like a form requesting for demos or like a form that is to contact sales or support. If all those forms are loading correctly, all the validations are working fine, and the customers are able to submit those forms. So those are the two new scanners which are going to be coming immediately. So this is how your snapshot looks like. And if you want to create a new scan, it's as simple as you just enter your website URL and then you click on create scan and you can see like all these different issues, accessibility, visual, broken link, performance, and responsive issues. You can either enter your URLs manually, or if you want, you could use this sitemap feature, which will automatically get your website sitemap and tell you like all the different URLs that you have in your site. So now I've like fetched the BrowserStack's sitemap. So you can see like the different URLs that BrowserStack has, and I can select a few and click on create scan. It's that simple. The scan will be created, and you should be able to see all the issues that your website might have, right? So this is how you create a scan. And coming to the different settings that you have on the website scanner, right? So these scans that you're doing, they can either be on demand or you can actually schedule them as well. So you could have like a daily, weekly, or a monthly schedule. If you enable the notifications, we send you a notification as soon as your scan is complete and if any issues are detected. And there are a few other settings here. The most important ones are this local testing. If you have any websites that are hosted on your lower environments, like your local desktops, right? You could test those as well. You could test websites that are behind login. So there are a lot of customers that might have their documentation or some pages which needs authentication to access them, right? So you can test them. We support basic authentication and form authentication. And very soon, we are also going to support multi-factor authentication using email OTP. So that is also coming very, very soon. Other than that, you can set custom cookies. So one use case for this is a lot of websites might have a cookie consent panel where you ask the users to either accept or reject cookies, right? That might interfere with your website's testing. So using this, you can dismiss that and you can proceed with your testing. Similarly, you have settings for other types of scans. Like for accessibility, you can select which accessibility version you want to use. All right. We have all the versions there. And for visual scan, you could add some custom CSS. So for example, if there is a banner or a very dynamic element that you want to dismiss, you can use custom CSS to do that. And coming to responsive scan, you could add all the different viewport settings that you want to test on. So for example, if I want to test on like a 500 pixel screen, so I can add it here. I can add my custom resolutions and it will show you like the screenshots and all these different resolutions. So this is about the settings that are available. And coming to the first report, right? Here, what you're seeing is the accessibility report. So you can see the accessibility score for my website and also see like how many critical issues are there, how many serious, moderate accessibility issues my website has. I can see how many pages were affected and how many components are affected. Also, what all WCAG versions is my website compatible with. And if you do multiple runs, if you schedule a scan every day or every month, right, you could also see like a trend. Is your website getting better over time or is it getting worse over time? You can see all those things, right? And there are a few more ways in which you can see your issues. Then coming to accessibility issues, you could see your issues either by the issue type or by the WCAG guideline. So this is a WCAG guideline that is there, and for each guideline, you can see what all issues are there, right? And if I click on any particular issue, I can see a snapshot of that particular element that has an issue. So for example, this element is not accessible. And I can also see how to uh, like identify that element on your website using the CSS and HTML snippet. And you also get um, the suggestions on how to fix that issue. Right. So all these things you can see in the accessibility scanner. And coming to the next scanner, which is a visual scanner. So here you can see the difference between these two scans. So the visual scan is basically a visual regression scan. So I have scanned this page on two different dates. I can see that there are some changes here. The elements that are marked in red have been changed from the previous version. So if I feel this is an intended change, I approve it. Or if I feel this shouldn't have happened, then I raise a bug and we fix it. Similarly, coming to the next type of check that we do, this is for checking broken links and broken components. So I can see that this privacy URL, which is um, mentioned in like 4 or 5 of my pages, this is broken, it's not reachable. And I can also see like I'm getting a 404 error there. So it will identify like different error codes, 4xx or 5xx error codes that are happening. This will check for your broken URLs and also check for other URL resources like your images, CSS, or JavaScript components, right? If they are also not loading, it can identify that. And similarly, if any button is not working, or if any clickable element that should it's not working, we identify that as well, and you can find that element by using the CSS and HTML selector and fix that. The fourth check that we are doing currently is we are testing for your performance. So you can see like the different pages in my website and what is their performance score. So for example, I can see that for this particular website, for this particular URL, my performance score is 76. And I want to understand why is that the case, right? So I can see here that my total blocking time, that is a little higher than what it should be. So if I want, I can click here and I can get more details about that. So I can see like my total blocking time should have been less than 0.6 seconds, but it's 0.92 currently, which is causing this dip in the score. I can also see what all opportunities that I have, right? For example, if I reduce some unused JavaScript, I can have this saving of this much in the site size. And if I eliminate some render blocking issues, then I can potentially save this much of time. So we show all the suggestions that you can implement to improve your site's performance. And we also show you the audits that have been passed. So all these details you can get for performance, and we can, once you fix this issue, hopefully your score should go up and your website's performance should be increased. Right? And the last check that we do is a responsive check. So here you can test your website in different browsers and also how it looks like in different screen resolutions. So here I can see like in 375 pixel, which is like a very, very narrow mobile, how your website would look like, how it would look like in a laptop. How it would look like in a laptop resolution versus how would it look like in a widescreen monitor. So you could see all these things, and if you can see, if you see there are any layout issues or if your website is not working fine in a particular resolution, so we can fix that as well. So this is a quick demo of the website scanner. Uh, so yeah, back to you, Shantanu.
So thanks, Vivek. We can start taking the questions. Maybe you can just look through them. You can see them in the question and answer box.
Sure, yeah. Let's do that. Let's go over the questions one after the other. How about testing other front-end applications that are not static? For instance, a web video player. Is it possible to leverage BrowserStack to automate tests on a video player? So BrowserStack definitely has products that can help you test applications with dynamic user interactions, right? So maybe you should be looking at the low-code automation tool. However, website scanner is not going to be a very good fit whenever there are like a lot of user interaction that is happening in a particular page. And these agents are built using Python. No, these are not. I'm not 100% sure of the technology that they are built using, but we are not going to store any customer data. And BrowserStack has all those security compliances, SOC 2 and the other security compliance that you talk about, right? So whatever user data that is going to be entered, it's going to be encrypted and it's going to be safe. BrowserStack is not storing any of this data. How about mobile platform scan? Does it perform for that also? So on the visual scanner, we already support both iOS and Android devices. And in accessibility scanner, we are soon going to start supporting mobile. And mobile support will eventually come to all different types of scans. Uh, I can see in demo that you can integrate with Slack for notifications. What other systems can this integrate to? Also adding in issues identified into a bug management tool. So currently we are supporting Slack for notifications. If there is any request, we can like support other platforms as well. And for bug management tool, this is currently supported in accessibility scanner, and we will also try to bring that support to other types of scanners as well. Is there any automated way to compare the final product or your website with a design, example Figma or XD? So currently Comparing with Figma is supported in our testing toolkit product. So where you can overlay your Figma design on top of your website and you can check. It is also supported in our Percy product where you can compare your screenshots with Figma. And we are also planning to bring this support very soon to Thread Scanner as well. Why is the visual scanner run through Percy? Is it a separate dashboard? It's not a separate dashboard. Within the same dashboard, you get to see the visual issues as well. But we use a underlying in the backend, right? We use the same Percy engine, what you get with the Percy product to scan your static websites as well. Can I control the performance threshold params? So for now, we are using the performance threshold params that are suggested by Google for giving like a very good user experience and also which will enhance your SEO, right? Um, but currently there is no way to set like custom performance params. Could this be used to testing portals that have unique URLs for each instance? So there is no feature as such, but we have supported a few customers who had this issue, like who had this kind of use case in the past. So you can get in touch with us and we can help you with the solution. How safe is it to scan behind login? So we ask you to provide a dummy user or a test user. The credentials are obfuscated. So, but we still have to store that obfuscated details to use to log into the website. At a time, how many website can it scan? So you can scan as many number of website at a time. Like I said, like we have customers who have license for 200,000 URLs. So they are running like multiple scans on thousands of pages at a time. If I run against a website, does the scan work in a way that it might trigger any security alerts or denial of service because it crawls a site? So we have seen issues of this sort in the past, and you can add some parameters to the header, and we can use them to bypass the security checks. Right? We can whitelist the website crawler, website scanner. So that could be done. For visual test, should I first prepare baseline screenshots? Yes. So the first scan that whatever you do, that is going to be your baseline, and any scan that you do on top of that, it will tell you if there are any visual changes. And if you feel that those visual changes were intended, you approve that second scan, and the second scan now becomes your baseline. So that is how it works. Each subsequent scan, when approved, it becomes your baseline. Does it support authenticated TOTP based authentication, which is scan a QR code and set it up for 2FA? For now, we support MFA using email OTP, but we also plan to support authenticator apps. Which website scanner packages the free trial using? So if you sign up for the free trial, right, you get the pro plan, which is the topmost plan for 30 days. In relation to performance tests, it carries out what types of performance tests are within the scope of this tool. So we generally check for your front-end website performance. So we check for the core web vitals. We check for the largest contentful paint time, cumulative layout shift time, and total blocking time. So we check for like the three primary core web vitals and two secondary core web vitals. Can we scan private sites behind VPN with this? Yes, you can scan like sites that are hosted locally or that doesn't have direct access to internet or that are behind a VPN. So there is a binary that you need to download, and you need to provide a tunnel to that local system or system that is behind a VPN, and you should be able to scan those websites. Does it support multiple tabs? I mean, I did not completely understand on why would you want multiple tabs. But for example, if it is testing for broken links, so if you click on a link and it is supposed to open in a new tab, it will cover those kinds of use cases. I think we have covered most of the questions. And if there are any left, I think we can get back to you offline.
Awesome. Thank you so much to everybody for attending this session. We were able to give you guys back 10 minutes. I hope you found this session to be useful and see you on the next one. Thank you. Thanks, Vivek.
Thank you.